there's a lot of excitement with that, and I love to be part of it. And a loss would make it that devastating, and a win makes it that much more exciting. So I just want to really kind of taste the victory and know that the hard work, because it could be the best night of my life.
You know, crossing over into UFC, meet different women there. How have they been compared to like what you like the women you met in Legacy? Do you have any? You feel like cat fight stuff going on, or really cool?
I think that I always give every fighter the benefit of the doubt anyway. Even if I hear them talking a certain way, I'm like, well, maybe that's just how they get into it mentally for a fight. So I never feel any kind of animosity really with any kind of fight, and I really never have in any of my fights. I always respect my opponents a lot, and at the end of the day, you know, we hug it in the match. I feel like the girls are, for the most part, they're pretty professional.
Is the spotlight that much brighter under the UFC as opposed to, the other brands in there?
I do feel so, only because, I mean, if you even just, as far as like household talk and household names, people say, even if they don't really, a lot of people don't understand there's the UFC, there's Legacy, there's, I mean, there was Pride before, there was all the WEC, there's like all these other organizations, but to them that's still just the UFC. And if they call, are you a UFC fighter? Even if you're fighting for another organization, that's I think kind of how people relate it, because they see it all the time. So, I mean, and it's just factual. More people are watching it. It is on a bigger stage. There are more people going to the events. They're big events. So there are more people watching. It is under a spotlight for sure.
How do you feel when you're thinking about it though? Man, I'm about to make my UFC debut. I mean, like, you're relatively calm, but are you ever like, man, that's pretty cool?
I find myself like when I'm running, like start thinking about, oh man, what if I'm in this bad position in a fight? Oh, I picture the walkout and get really worked up, and then I'm like, I've been in there before. I have great training partners, the best in the world. So you have these like moments of great confidence, and then moments of, oh man, this is coming down on me. And so it's kind of a roller coaster, but every fight I've had that kind of a mental state going on. It's good to, and I like it. I like to have a balance. I like to feel confident, but also kind of visualizing myself being in a bad position and having to react to it and come out of it. Say you're down in a fight and you have to come back and win. I've always pictured that even when I was boxing all those years. Say it's round 5 and you've lost 1 through 5. You have to win the rest of the rounds to win the fight, and you better dig deep, don't give out. And so sometimes I think like that. I put myself in a bad position, in a good position. And, I just try and keep a good balance. But yeah, there's times where it really weighs on me.
Because of your injury, you were able to, I guess, see some extra tape on Raquel, and the way that she fought in her last one was pretty good. What do you see? What do you take away from her as a fighter?
I think in that fight, that other girl was kind of handing it to her a little bit, and obviously Raquel was waiting for that big moment and sunk in the choke. So it was a very close round, a very close fight, back and forth from both girls, and Raquel never let it get too much pressure for her. She stayed calm and waited for that moment to capitalize, and that to me is a very big thing to fear in a fighter, because you know that even if you have them in a bad position, you still have to be so careful from the beginning of the round to the end of the round, from the beginning of the fight to the end of the fight. So I think she showed that a lot in her discipline.
As a boxer, you watch fighters heavy at 150, you fight 47, 40. Is making 35 still not a problem for you?
I hate making 135, but it's doable, and why would I want to fight heavier? I think in boxing maybe it didn't matter as much. You're not dealing as much with wrestling and actual clinch work and dealing with somebody else's actual body weight and strength. Boxing, you can use your legs for power and movement and things like that, but you're not actually having to wrestle with that other person's body. So you can kind of focus on your own power and your own power shots, but you're not necessarily having to, hold this person out. So I feel like it is a little bit different. If there's ever a time in the future where I can and it made sense, then maybe, but it just doesn't really make sense right now.
Do you have any thoughts on the recent UFC drug testing that's been in the headlines lately?
I support it. I've always been a very big fan of being an athlete. I think if people are being natural in what they're doing, they probably wouldn't have a problem with it. So I know there's a lot of media around it, and a lot of talk this way or that way, and opinions about it. But for me, it's if they want to drug test me for performance enhancement, okay. I really, for me, I think it's great. You're going to get a more pure fight because you're going to two people at their natural best. I think it's great.
As you talk about, like, when you think about your career from aerobics instructor to
I
this.
I do. I think about it a lot, and you can think back to living in Bosque Farms, and we drove all the way to Manzano for high school. And from going to Manzano is when I found myself going to Winter Johnson kickboxing for a really second. I didn't go to Manzano for high school. I'm so glad that my path went that way. I feel very blessed.
And I was going to ask you.
Holly, so with the injuries in the past, the broken arm, the neck, how does it feel now to have the debut on the horizon? So close.
I'm so glad I can put these injuries behind me. I feel good. I was already 3/4 of the way through training camp for the last fight when I had to pull out, and I just feel like I was upset about the neck, but I was even more upset that I thought, man, I gotta wait that much longer to get this over with and get in there and just get that first fight back in there. So I feel great though. I feel very healthy. I really have no complaints.
And now that you've waited due to injuries and stuff, you're up to the co-main event. So how much, more nicer, or how does this change the moment? It's so big now.
I feel like there was already build-up before I even got the first fight scheduled. And then there was a lot of build-up for that fight. Then I had to pull out of the fight for an injury. And then there was build-up for this fight, and then it even got changed to the co-main event. So yes, I feel like there's a lot of pressure behind it, but I'll just try and take the opportunities and just go with it.
And then lastly, how does it feel that so many other women in the division keep bringing up your name, and yet you haven't even been able to make the debut yet?
I just better perform well. That's all there is to it. I just, I almost feel like there's just no option. I can't lose. I've got to go in there and I've got to do well.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.